What's up, Cave Dwellers? I'm Gabe.
And I'm Lex.
And we're back again. How bad was that hot sauce?
No, we didn't do hot sauce.
How bad was that hot chocolate?
It wasn't great. It was not terrible. I survived. It was just painful.
Yeah.
It was painful.
It didn't hurt me at all.
What?
This was a stupid idea.
Oh, man.
I didn't help at all.
No, it did.
It made it worse.
Yeah, because it got the chocolate out of your mouth. That was sweet.
Yeah. I'm going to drink some tea.
I'm going to just drink water.
But it's okay, because next week, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. You're more afraid than I am, I feel like.
But I'm also really excited. Are we getting, like, chicken wings to do that with? Because I was thinking we like, go and get food.
No! I don't think you understand. We'll talk about that after this video.
Okay.
Talk.
Boxes. Good. What is it called? I'm kidding. Comic Shield.
Anyways, no.
Comic Shield.
Comic Shield, if you're in the business of shipping comics at all.
Don't try to...
I will 100%. You shut your mouth. I'm talking about a sponsor. Comic Shield, if you're in the business of shipping comics, cards, graded cards, they are the best boxes on the market right now. And they are wonderful to work with. They are easy to fold. They are, they hold a lot for their size. And with boxes being like this, it is easy to hold their graded cards, and you can hold more than just one. I don't know if y'all can even see that, but this could probably hold 2 to 3 of these graded cards a piece, which that makes shipping a lot easier.
It does. It really
and then
does.
our other sponsor is Gabe's Cave, Comics, Cards, and Collectibles.
What to say about Gabe's Cave?
There's a really cool website, and there's exclusives. You can set up pull lists. Definitely worth checking out, especially if you don't have a local comic shop, or if you're trying to get that one issue that's sold out at your local comic shop. There's also an app. You can place orders on there and look at new stuff. It kind of shows... There's a section that shows what hits there are this week for comics, I think. And it's definitely worth downloading.
Yeah. I was going to try to describe you, but in my head I was describing you, and I was like, that sounds like him and his dad.
Stop pondering.
I will. Okay, I'll stop pondering. I'll stop thinking again.
Not what I meant.
Oh. What did you mean? Pondering
The orb.
Shut up.
Anyways, for today's video, in memory of Val Kilmer, it was very sad. I hate the way I found out, because I found out through our friend Tone's live stream in the morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he goes, man, did y'all hear Val Kilmer died? And I went, what? No!
My little brother told me while we were driving to Little Rock.
Yeah, I'm very happy that I got to meet him.
Oh, you got to meet him? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I've got some signed stuff. I've got a picture with him. He's pretty cool.
I think I remember. Is it on the wall? I've probably seen it before.
Yeah, his picture's on the wall in the cave if you'll ever come in here. But I'm glad that I got to meet him before he passed away. And I think that he was a really good actor, and I like some of his roles. Some of his roles quite literally made movies for me. I don't know about you, but they definitely did for me. So we put together a top 5 list. This is our top 5, or this is technically our each individual top 5.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to say a movie that he was in, and we're going to start with 5, go to 4, 3, 2, 1. We do not know what is on each other's lists, and we do not know what order we have.
I think we have a couple of the same movies.
We definitely have a couple of the same movies, but I definitely think ours will be in different orders.
Probably. Maybe.
Ready to start with number 5?
Yeah, you start us off. You got the physical paper.
I think, yeah,
digital.
I wrote mine down. It took him till this morning to write his down. Okay.
What does that have to do with anything?
It's just the fact that you forgot them all as soon as you walked in the door this morning, and then had to rewrite them down.
If you've been thinking about something for I'm going on a short tangent real quick. If you've been thinking about something for a long time and then someone comes up to you and asks you about that thing, does your brain not go blank? Mine goes blank if someone asks me about something, especially if I know the topic very well and someone starts trying to ask me questions about it. My mind will go blank and I won't be able to tell you anything about it. I'll call you back 5 minutes later and be like, okay, now I can tell you the entire history of the WWE, but sorry, 5 minutes ago I couldn't tell you who The Rock was.
On a specific question, like if somebody asks a question that has specifics, if it's broad, no issues at all. But if they're like, "Hey, what happened with this when this happened during this event?" That makes me completely blank.
Okay, I'll be watching wrestling and then someone will come in and ask me what's going on. I'll be like, they're throwing each other around and 5 minutes ago, I've been like, oh, that was a nice pile driver. Oh, that was a good DDT. Nice reversal. You know.
All right. Anyway,
back to the topic.
Back on topic. My number 5, and I don't think you've seen this.
I might have and just don't remember it. We've had that conversation.
I have True Romance at number 5.
Okay, that sounds really familiar. I've probably seen it.
Yeah. See, with True Romance, I remember the movie in general.
Mm-hmm.
I do not remember specifics, but I remember after the movie, I really enjoyed it. And so that's why it got the number 5 slot. Out of all the movies that he's been in, out of all the movies that he's been in and that I've seen and everything, that one just felt like it deserved number 5.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
What is your number 5?
My number 5 is Billy the Kid, probably. I have a soft spot for Westerns. I don't really know why. I don't remember who I watched Westerns with, but I remember watching Westerns
Mine's my granddad.
I think it was my granddad, too. I'm like 90% sure I'd watch Westerns with my granddad. And it could just be I watched the same Western like 40 times with him, because I liked to do that as a kid. I had like 3 movies I'd watch on repeat.
I watched The Rifleman with my granddad a lot.
Mm. We watched a movie that was later on this list.
Fair enough.
Hint, hint.
Yeah, I think everybody will know what that one is.
Yeah, but that's my number 5.
Okay. What is your number 4?
Okay, now I'm kind of torn between 2. Because I don't know which one I want to put above which.
Okay, so I know my number 4 is not on your list.
Okay,
I know for sure mine's not going to be.
You go first, because I can't decide now.
My number 4 spot is Willow. In my opinion, it's a wonderful fantasy narrative written by George Lucas, and it was wonderfully done. I think it was ahead of its time, and it almost... I love high fantasy, and I love modern stuff where they make it more... moving towards dark fantasy or different subgenres of fantasy, but I love classic OG D&D styled high fantasy, and I think that it was perfectly done. I think it was a wonderful movie, and I think that he played a awesome part in it. I think I've seen Willow probably twice, but the reason it's at number 4 is because I loved watching it. I loved his part in it. And I actually remember more of the movie than my number 5 slot, than True Romance. And fantasy movies just, they hold places in my heart because I'm a nerd. So I've been in this my whole life. Still torn?
Well, actually, you just may remember Willow. I have seen that. This is why I can't do these kind of things, because I don't remember movies until someone reminds me of a movie, and then
Okay.
I think that might be my 5.
Willow?
Yeah. This is why I shouldn't be able to do these.
Come on.
Yeah, okay, hold on. Yeah, I think Willow's my 5, actually.
Okay.
See, this is why I can't do these, because my changes so frequently.
And I'm not going to argue with you, and that's fine. I understand, because that's how you are. So, if Willow's your 5, what's your 4?
My 4 is Billy the Kid.
Okay. And that's fair.
Yeah. My 4 would be Billy the Kid then.
Yeah.
It would just move Billy the Kid up one.
Yeah.
Well, cause that...
But then you've got...
Then I have 6.
Yeah. Would Willow be your honorable mention?
No.
Yeah, probably.
No. I don't know.
What would be your 6th slot?
I don't know, Gabe. I don't know, because I know I've seen these movies and I can't remember these movies, so I don't want to rank them because I know I've seen the other ones and I don't remember them.
But ignore the ones you haven't seen, or that you don't remember. That's.
But then I feel like I'm doing an injustice because I don't remember everything about the movies. I just remember certain parts.
Yeah, but if they didn't leave that much of a lasting memory in your mind,
like
then
4 movies leave a lasting memory for me.
Okay, that's fair.
That's why I shouldn't be able to do things with rankings, because mine change too often because I don't really have set favorite stuff.
All right.
I shouldn't be able to do this. I shouldn't have been in this video. Y'all should have done this with someone else. Just because I'm too indecisive.
Alex, what's your number 3?
Okay. My number 3 is probably... which Batman was he in?
Forever.
Yeah, that one. Just because I think that's really funny.
Oh, God. Our 3, 2, and 1 might be the same.
They're not.
My number 3 is also Batman Forever. I loved that Batman because I liked Jim Carrey Riddler a lot. I really enjoyed that movie. And I know everybody else didn't, but I was little and I thought it was great. I thought the colors mashing with the constant shades of black and gray were great.
Yeah.
With everything being dark and then you get these really vibrant colors out of nowhere, I thought it looked good.
It's fun, and that's why I like it.
Yeah.
Because I like fun movies.
Yeah.
Because we've been over this. If it makes me think, probably don't enjoy it that much.
Yeah. See, I liked that as a kid.
I'm still a kid.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are, buddy. Anyways, but I think that was a wonderful movie. Looking back on it, it probably wasn't the best. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I think he played a great nipple Batman.
Yeah.
You got to have fun with it.
Yeah.
I don't need to listen anymore. I know what my number 2 and 1 are. My number 2 is Prince of Egypt. I love that movie. It is definitely... it's in probably my top 10 animated movies of all time. Loved it as a kid. I love it now. It's wonderful. I love the way that he did the voice I love the way that he did the voice of Moses. I think he did it perfectly spot on. It was inspiring as a kid. And I think that I love the prominence in God's voice that he had. Because if you didn't know, the studio felt that it was wrong to do God's voice as just one man. So they had majority of the people in the cast and some of the people in the production crew do God's voice lines. And they had it overlaid with his voice, and then it still didn't sound quite right, so they had his voice a little bit more prominent to give it that thunder. And I love that detail, and especially rewatching it now. I think it was beautifully done. Also, Jeff Goldblum's in that movie, and you all know that I love Jeff Goldblum, but this video is not about him.
My number 2 is Tombstone, which is probably the Western I've watched the most with my family. I mentioned earlier with either my number 5 or my number 4 or my number 6, Billy the Kid, because I can't pick a number. I know these are my top 2. I have those 2 stoned. Tombstone is number 2, and my number 1, which I haven't said yet. Those are locked in stone. It's everything else that doesn't have a proper place.
I know what your number 1 is going to be. What's your number 1 slot?
My number 1 slot is his number 2 slot,
Yeah.
The Prince of Egypt. I just think it's such a beautiful movie. Like, I'll watch that movie and just be like, man, this is...
Man, they're going to be mad that you didn't put Top Gun on your list.
That's because I forgot it. This is why I can't do these, because it slipped my mind. Because you reminded me of Willow, and that's what replaced it. And I don't know if that was right or not now. And now I can't decide. This is why I shouldn't.
Would Top Gun go in your number 6?
It would be in my top 6 for sure.
Okay. Yeah, my number 1 is Tombstone. Which, funny thing, I've never watched this with family.
Really?
It is my dad's, like, in his top 3 movies of all time.
No.
And I've never watched it with him. How?
How do you? Yeah, how? Because I feel like that's how I'm introduced to every movie.
They have a signed Tombstone at the clubhouse.
So your family did introduce it to you, just not. Hey, we're
With
gonna
me.
watch this movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was more of they talked about it a lot,
That makes
and I have a thing where I can watch movies while doing stuff. Sometimes I can watch movies, TV shows, stuff like that while doing other things, and still comprehend what's going on. And I watch a lot of movies like that, and TV series and stuff like that, especially TV series because they're easy to binge that way. But there are times when movies become more interesting and I stop everything I'm doing to watch them. Tombstone was one of those. I watched Tombstone through and through. I've probably seen it like 8 to 12 times now. Mm-hmm. I think the first time I watched it was 3 or 4 years ago. But I absolutely love that movie, and Val Kilmer made that movie for me. Doc Holliday was amazing. And again, it's one of the movies that I quote all the time. Mm-hmm. I quote a lot of movies all the time. Movies, TV shows, doesn't matter. I quote it all the time.
Yeah,
and that is one of them. And
he's not lying. He's not lying.
Yeah.
You do it all the time.
And I love that movie. I don't know. To me, it's a cinematic masterpiece. And for me, he'll go down in history for that movie.
Yeah.
That movie alone will put him in history. And The Prince of Egypt will, to me, carry it.
Yeah.
It's funny because that's one of the movies that you always hear people say, "Oh yeah, I watched it with my granddad or my dad or somebody." I didn't. I'm surprised I didn't. But it's also like I watched a lot of 80s action movies with my mom, and then she'll bring up one random one every once in a while, and I'll be like, "I've never seen it," and she's like, "I've failed," and I'm like, "But I know all of these others."
Yeah.
So. But that is, at least, that is my consistent
that is
top
his.
5.
He has a top 5. I have a top 2. And then I have all the other ones pretty much even.
Fair enough. And that's fair.
Just because, like I've said before, I like most movies. There's not really any movies that I can't watch a second time. Like, I can watch any movie and enjoy it just because I can turn my brain off and just watch and think it's funny. I can think a really bad movie is really good.
I'm very critical when watching a movie. I can't.
We're polar opposites.
Yeah. Which I look at things and judge them very specific ways. But I will not judge a movie before I've watched it. I will not judge a show before I've watched it. And that being said, I used to hate Adventure Time. I watched it all the way through.
It's a pretty good show.
It's a great show. However, it takes too long to get started.
Yeah.
That's my biggest issue with it. For people that don't like to light watch stuff, I don't recommend it. Because you have to watch all the filler episodes in the beginning before it even gains continuity. It's anthological episodes that make no sense at all, that are just random adventures like every other kids cartoon out there. And then out of nowhere, it gains continuity. And that is its downfall. That is why it will never be a perfect scoring show for me. It's
unlike
it's how it
Gravity
is for me.
Falls.
I knew you were going to say it. Anyways, that's our top 5.
His top 5.
Or my top 5.
My top 2.
Yeah, your top 2. That's our list.
Yeah.
We would love to know yours in the comments and your thoughts. I'm sorry that this video was so short.
And scattered.
Yeah. I had a very orderly list.
He was very organized. I'm not a very
I
organized
spent like 3 hours last night going through all of his movies, looking through them, and making sure that I knew exactly what my top were.
I probably should have done that, but I was tired and had to take a test. So,
anyways, make sure to get signed up for all the sketch cards. The video or the link is in the description. And speaking of sketch cards, we're going to move on to our artist spotlight.
yeah.
Welcome to this week's artist spotlight. We've got today John Bruce.
Yeah.
And these are some beautiful cards. I'm loving them. You going to go down the line?
Sure. We got Optimus Prime, Carnage, Spock, the Teen Titans Go, and Star Trek Lower Deck.
Yep. And then we've got Spider-Gwen, and then Iron Boy, Iron Bob.
Iron Bob.
Scott Pilgrim, Dredd, and Batman from the 2004 Batman animated. I'm loving these. What's your favorite, man?
My favorite's probably the Optimus Prime.
Yeah?
I think the Optimus Prime just looks really cool.
It does. I agree. I like the Scott Pilgrim. You never see him.
Yeah.
I really like that one. That's cool. Yeah, these are some really nice cards. And if you want them, of course, you can jump in the description below, hit the link, and
Fill out the information.
That's right. And you will be entered for next week to win. Speaking of winning, we have giveaways.
Congratulations to everybody who wins.
Yeah, congrats, guys. We'll get those shipped out as soon as we can. And before we go, we're just going to go ahead and say we've got a bunch of exclusives on our website. Make sure to check them out.
Go check them out.
We've got more and more just about every time you check. That does not mean if you check within second intervals, it won't. They won't change, I promise. Unless it's right before release, then it might. However,
Comic Shield.
Yeah, make sure to check them out. Comic Shield's worth it. Definitely recommend it. But yeah, that's all we got. We love Val Kilmer.
Yeah.